kind of seeped into our system, I would like to introduce myself. So I am Ritu Java, leading the school with my wonderful team members, Miss Harmeet Kaur as the headmistress. We have Miss Pratibha Singh as the senior mistress, and wonderful team of teachers who are here to wait to welcome one beautiful children. And the school, as you see behind me, is a structure built with a lot of love and care. We invite all our prospective parents to please come and visit us. But before I actually take this evening forward, I would like to welcome the renowned and the name that people reckon with is Dr. Rakshit Tandon. A very good evening, sir,
Good evening,
and
ma'am.
a heartwarming welcome from all of us here. So, Dr. Tandon's name, I think each one of us post-pandemic, during pandemic, were able to relate to each and every one of us, each and every household could hear, talk about him, run to him for all the kind of advices, for all the strategies to safeguard ourselves from this web trap. So, Sir is a cybersecurity evangelist, advisor to law enforcement, international trainer, and speaker. And with over 2 decades of pioneering work in cybercrime investigations, digital forensics, cyber safety advocacy, Dr. Tandon has educated and empowered over 8 million young minds on cyber hygiene and online safety. And I'm sure you have more being added to that list, sir. And also trained intelligence agencies across India. He's been a part of it, including the CBI, NIA, NSG, CRPF, and various state police academies. A TEDx and a Josh Talk speaker, Dr. Tandon has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Cyber Guru of the Year, the Karamveer Puraskar, Haryana Garima Award, and has received formal appreciation for his role in cracking high-profile cybercrime cases. And sir, I would really like to sit with you and understand what kind of cases were they, because I'm intrigued to know the kind of cybercrime that happens behind just a screen that we'll be, very slowly walking into. And his mantra, like he always says, the virtual world is not a game; it's your life, and so stay safe. And each one of us, I think, has been well uh, uh, advised by Dr. Tandon over the last 4 years, and we are able to take this journey probably more safely than ever so. With us, we have our very warm, dearest of all, I would say, and I fondly call her Aditi ma'am, the director principal of DPS Sector 45, also the director for Dharav High School, the director for DPS International. And I'm sure, ma'am, you'll have a lot more added to that because you've got a legacy that you are carrying. And you've seen over the last so many decades from children turning into parents, and then finally the parents coming to you crying with what they're facing with this screens, screams, and how to remain sane in this most insane world of web trap. So a very heartwarming welcome, ma'am. It's so nice to see all of you here, and I'm sure that the attendees here would be equally delighted to have the esteemed members here. And I also welcome the entire team of the DPS family here, the Dharav High School family, and wonderful parents who are here to definitely get an advice from the most renowned people here who've been through those experiences and who've understood not just as a theory, but as experience. So without much ado, I'm going to straight away run to my first question, ma'am. And then in fact, in between, we will open it to a question answer where each one of you can pose your question, and I will be happy to take this forward to Rakshit sir and to Aditi ma'am. So, ma'am, my first question, because I do want to save each and every minute of this time and want to reach out to you with the problems that each one of us would be facing as parents. So, my first question is, how do parents keep their children away from the screen in this digital era? And I'm sure this question has come to you many a times.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Ritu. Um, I've always believed that children learn best by watching what they are seeing around them. You can keep saying something, but words only fall in their ears if the action which is accompanying those words is not in tandem. So I've heard of parents using bad language or being rude and telling the child, be polite, don't use bad words. They'll never get that because they've seen you. You are the role model. For every child, the first role model is the parent, the second role model is usually a teacher. If you don't walk the talk, if you can't speak well, the child is unlikely to listen to your words of speaking well or being polite or, not using bad words. It's the same with digital devices. So if parents are going to be stuck to it as if the phone is a part of their body and constantly have this on their hand, and then saying don't use the phone, it's not good for you, they wonder, they may not back chat just yet, but their mind is working that if it's not good, why do you have it? How come you're using it so much? So for the first thing I would request parents, and I hope parents are here and listening, is I understand that you need the phone. I understand it's a device to communicate and to do some amount of work. Don't do it in front of your child. Please have boundaries, please have spaces. Eating time should be eating time and conversations there on the dining table. Phone should not be there. It is the most heartrending sight for me in the past 5, 6 years when I go out to eat with friends and I see a small family of a parents and young child, and the parents are on the phone and the child has been given a device to play a game while the food is about to come. Now, that I would say parents should be talking to the child. Who's your friend? Where do they live? What do they do? What do you like best about that friend? Who's your favorite teacher? Which subject do you enjoy? A conversation. Conversations are not happening. So, for me, the first and only message is limit your time on the phone so that your child can understand that the phone is not the essence of life as it seems to be right now.
Thank you, ma'am. And I kind of relate to this, and I'm sure all of us who would be educators would still be, ranting about it deep within, wanting to go and take the phone away when you would see a parent sitting in the dining space in a restaurant, and each parent and each member of the family holding onto that phone and playing with the gadget. And I'm sure there is this part of you who would be wanting to run and say, please keep the phone away and spend time with the family. So I kind of relate to it. Taking your question and answer forward, I would want to put this to Dr. Tandon because, sir, you being in this field for the last so many years and furthermore, probably got into the depth of everything that's happening behind the scenes and behind the screens. And all of us, obviously, we've got a life which is visible to everyone when we hold a phone. And I remember attending one of your webinars or maybe a in-person session where you said, if you've got an Android, if you've got a phone which is in your hand or an iPhone, you've already got your life visible to everyone around. So, which is kind of scary. And I think, and I came back home feeling worried for about a day or two, but then I got back to my life, and I'm sure so many of the people around will be doing the same. So, what do you feel has happened over the last few years? What is the big change that you see across the country, across the age groups? So, also, I would want to know, are we reaching a point of no return? Is there something that we can still, is there a damage control now or not?
So, first of all, namaste, all of you, and thank you, Ritu ma'am, Aditi ma'am, for having me at Dharav High School. All the parents, teachers, staff members, and my dear children who are listening to me. Ma'am, what has happened in the last few years? So, we have converted a normal cyber threat into a cyberdemic. So, it is like you've heard pandemic, now it is cyberdemic. In pandemic, you used to hear about how to be safe from vaccination and COVID, and now when you call somebody, you hear that you have to be safeguarded from cybercrime. The last statistics, what we have seen in 2024, said that we had almost 12 lakh complaints, 11,300 crore lost to cyber frauds, and the cyber frauds are increasing. Now, imagine a highway where there is 4,444 accidents happening every day, and on that highway, we are leaving our kids alone in the cyberspace, unguided, without any license, without any training, and without any. So, that is the threat when it comes to children. Everybody who has a smartphone, yes, is on a vulnerable point. But uh, you said no return, no, that we cannot be hopeless. We have safeguards. Governments are taking effective measures. Today, we are blocking so many numbers, we are blocking so many fake applications, we are spreading awareness, we are educating people. But I think a very important role here today has to be played by parents now. Because see, it took so many years for us to come from Orkut to Facebook and Facebook to Instagram with 431 million users in India. But it took only 2 months for ChatGPT to have more than 200 million users in 2 months in November 22. So this is where the thing is a question mark now. Today only in the morning I was addressing a school and I was talking to the kids, and this I every time when I talk to kids I say this, that when I talk to grade 9th and 12th, it is very quiet, very subtle, smiling faces, scary faces. But when I talk to these young ones, grade 4 to grade 9, this grade 8, they scare me out. And you know why? Because they have no discipline online now. They have the individual devices. A 9-year-old is consuming a game which is meant for 17 plus. Now, these are the challenges. For 2nd June, we had a public announcement, and Government of India has given advisory that 16 billion passwords of Google, Facebook, and Apple have been leaked. Now, these passwords are available online. Now, I want to ask all the 400, 500 members listening to me, in the last 2, 3 weeks, how many of you have changed your passwords? So now cyber safety is just not one webinar which you will attend, listen, and go back. You have to bring it as a culture. And as rightly said by ma'am, netiquettes come from home, like etiquettes come from home. We have learned looking at our parents, touching the feet of elder people, taking their greetings and respects. Today, similarly, you have to give values for digital world. And I use the word cyber hygiene, I use the word digital diet. If a 9-year-old is consuming an application which is 17 plus, it is affecting his mental health. It is like giving unhygienic food to a child, it will make him sick. And now it has been proven by so many researchers from Stanford's and MIT's, where there is so much of research going on, that because of excessive screen time, my children are losing attention span, they are having depressions and anxieties, they are getting into complexes, they are becoming aggressive. All these things are coming out. They've given it a name, digital dementia. So now there is a time for discipline. I'm not saying you can't have no screen time. It is not possible now. Technology is there to stay with us. AI is there to stay with us. It is how responsibly we use it. And I think that is very, very important for every individual parent to understand. And the landscape is increasing. The threat landscape is increasing day by day. We are facing new threats, but then we are bringing out solutions as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tandon. I think every time I sit and listen to you, I start making my notes of what I'm not doing right, which is not may not be for my children because they're I think I did my job well that side. But yes, on the things where you say how to safeguard yourself, changing of password being one of them, which I've just taken as a tip. And we do get lazy about all of those. And I do second your thoughts when you said that it's the fourth to eighth, which is your primary to the middle, which is the
Yeah.
most precarious one. And I have dealt with those while being in this profession so closely that sometimes it scares you to the point where you feel that you may not have a solution because the damage is already done. And being a visual, audio visual learners, children at fourth, fifth, and further, they happen to kind of see a lot more than what they are expected to see. Moving from your question, your answer here, I'm going to put this forward to Aditi ma'am. So, ma'am, we have come up with a lot of apps. While the whole thing went into a pandemic state, we
Mm.
all wanted to ensure that children are not deprived of education. They are closely monitored, but at the same time, they need to be in touch with what's happening around through a platform as digital platform, because that was the only thing available during those 2 years. We've got hooked onto it. We've got our children hooked onto it. So, as per your understanding and your experience, what kind of apps do you feel are most appropriate for children of different age groups? And how do we, as parents, how do we, as educators, monitor and guide our children?
Thank you, Ritu. Now, in the pandemic, there was no choice. I couldn't have said please stay away from screens because a lot of learning that happened, not just academic, but co-curricular, dance, music, sport, exercise, was happening online, on screen. It was required. Now the pandemic is over. So anyone who says, I got used to the screen in the pandemic, I asked him, I said, do you wear a mask still? You got unused to the masks pretty fast. You also moved out of the house, need to stay at home. If you're living in the pandemic and you want to use the screen, then please kindly stay indoors and please don't, take off the mask either. You can't have selective. Where apps are concerned, I do believe that a lot of it is a bit of an eyewash. Sorry, I don't wish to hurt any feelings, or they're required at times. But again, the age that Rakshit sir is talking about, the vulnerable age, that's the age when parents say, Acha, maths mein theek nahi hai, let's get this very nice maths app. It's very good. It deals with children's, little issues, little doubts. Instead of feeling shy and embarrassed, the app takes them to that particular topic and they sort of redo it. What stops a child from stopping that in a small class and start to watch a cartoon? And as they grow older, the cartoon is replaced by inappropriate content, right? So, who's monitoring it? Either you have a very strong net nanny, so the child cannot move away from that app. But most people don't have it. And our children are very bright. Our kids today are digital natives, not like us, we are learning. They have been born into it, so they know how to escape quickly. While you're coming, walking towards them, they'll one click of a button and back comes the mathematics screen. So, whatever is being used, again, the parent has to be free enough to sit over there. They cannot hand the device and go away. It's like handing a time bomb to a child. Honestly, I mean, I don't know how to make this more scary, but I'm honestly seeing the kind of damage screens and phones are doing to children, not just in their health, the physical health, but what's happening inside them. All this talk of anxiety, depression is coming because you're being fed far too much information. The brain is not ready for it. You're constantly being compared. You're constantly being shown that this is what you ought to do, this is what you have to do. Everyone can't do everything, so let's go slow. And certainly some apps are good, there's no doubt about it, but it must be under supervision. You can't hand over a phone and a mic or a tablet and a app and say now go ahead and do the maths. You were not doing your LCM properly, this will get you to do it. Parent has to find time to sit. Without that, it's again quite a tragedy waiting to happen. And then it's too late. After a point, it's just too late because you find that the child, it's normal. I mean, if I were a child, I'd rather watch Tom and Jerry than sit and do an LCM and HCF. Who wants to do that? It's boring at one point of time. The parents sitting there and ensuring that that little doubt is cleared through the app and then close it. And maybe, once in a while, okay, 2 minutes of a video can be seen. You can watch a little reel because it was funny. This is a very interesting song. You can listen to it on the video. All that is fine. Like Rakshit sir said, you cannot do away with it. It cannot be wished away. It's there. How usefully you can use it, how safely you can use it, and how you can use it to better your own self is the trick.
So, ma'am, I loved the term net nanny. So I like it that you have to have a net nanny. Now there'll be a search for net nanny out. So resumes out, CVs out for the net nannies. I'm not sure if it's really a brilliant idea that okay, I've done my job, I've got assigned a net nanny.
There are programs that are called Net Nanny. So you can put them, you can install them, and the child cannot. So the parent has to take that. Okay, my child can go into Discovery, can go into History Channel, can go into this, and cannot go anywhere. They can keep trying, but they will not. Net Nanny will not allow it.
Oh wow, I love this. So I'm quite oblivious to it. Thank you for enlightening me with this term. And also, sir, there is a question, ma'am, before I take it to sir about, taking from your answer again. But there's a question which has come which says, what are some ways of to encourage my child to engage in outdoor activities and limit their screen time? So I'll probably have you answer this, ma'am, and then I'll take it to sir.
Again, more by example. If you are sitting down at home and watching TV and tell the child go out and play, it's not going to happen. So the first few times you have to go out with the child. I remember having a bit of a struggle with my children because I'm a voracious reader. So is my husband. My children were not reading. So I had to, make a time just before dinner of half an hour of reading. So I was reading I was, of course, reading after dinner, before dinner, early in the morning in the car. But I had made it a reading time that they were sitting and reading. So everybody read. So parents have to lead by example, or you make a little group. You live, all of us live in condos. So some mummies should come together and create a sort of a group of children of similar ages. And one mummy goes as a designated, carer and make sure that they play. Once a child goes and plays outside, it is addictive. And it's a lovely addiction to want to go out and play and enjoy yourself with your friends. Inside our homes, also, for example, I must share this with the parent who's asked the question. I have grown up children. I have children in law also. Whenever we meet, we play a board game. It could be Cluedo. I hate Monopoly because I lose very quickly. It could be, Scrabble. So everybody's together. We don't have time for TV. So the younger children in the house are learning that there's a lot of engagement, a lot of conversation, and those words are picked up. That idea is picked up that there is life beyond the screen. In our homes, screen is, I think, in a whole month or in a whole week, we would be watching TV maybe for 2 hours in a week in small portions, nothing more than that. So it's by example. Parents have to move out, children will move out. They'll enjoy it, they will not need you to push them then. They'll automatically want to go out. So these are some ideas I can share with parents because as a mom, I did all of this for my own kids.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish my kids were younger. I would have taken those ideas from you, but maybe in some years from now, I'll be doing that for the grandkids. Now, from your point, I want to also just add some humor to it. When you said some choice between Tom and Jerry and LCM, at least I would do that for all my life, Tom and Jerry over
Tom and Jerry.
LCM. So,
Yes.
so that's something which I'll always run away from. And if I were to be made to sit in front of a screen, I'll still shift to a Tom and Jerry.
Mm.
Okay, so sir, coming back to you, ma'am discussed about the apps. She shared the perfect balance that we must create between outdoor activities, playtime, and also the perfect apps which are well monitored. What, according to you, is the right screen time? And how do we kind of draw boundaries to ensure that the screen time is limited, the child feels satisfied, the parent knows that he or she has done the right job? So, as per your understanding and your experience, and with the points that you mentioned about the dementia hitting in, what do you suggest and recommend as the perfect screen time and not this and not beyond?
See, it's not only about the screen time, ma'am, it is about addiction as well. And WHO has come up saying that gaming disorder has been now treated as a disease in the international classification of diseases. And I have some very, very weird and worst cases which I'm handling, which are related to young kids getting addicted to games, spending money online. Today, also, when I was interacting with a kid, he told me that he see a lot of ads and pop-ups of some games called Rummy and Teen Pattis and stuff like that, which was very scary for us to understand that how a young child of fourth or a fifth grade is getting to know about these gambling apps. So for me, screen time has to be defined as per the usage of the user. Suppose I have to, there is a pandemic going on, or there is a holiday and there is some online educative learning webinar going on, which needs 1 hour of my screen time. I have to sit in front of the laptop or a tablet. So that is qualitative screen time. Now the same 1 hour I'm spending watching shorts and reels where there is all kind of content. And I'm sorry to say, social media today is not pure. Now, it has a lot of bad content which is influencing children, which is making them do wrong things. Just today, there was a case, a very dangerous case, where a child lay down on a track, a railway track below a high speed train just to make a reel go viral. Now, these ideas, well, I would call it stupid also, but very dangerous as well. Similarly, people are going crazy for likes and for comments, and there is so much of inappropriate content, and this all content is being imbibed into your brains. It is garbage in, garbage out. So now spending an hour on watching this kind of content is very scary. So games, they are designed in such a way with AI and algorithms and suggestions. Everything is now AI based. Now Netflix know what kind of movies I like. Now YouTube know what kind of songs I prefer. So they keep on showing me that, and that makes me addictive. That scrolling thing is very addictive. That you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And what is happening? The cognitive thinking is going down, badly going down. So this is scary. So for that, for social media, I first of all don't allow kids below 15 to come and touch on social media. This is very scary. 11 and 12 years old. Australia has passed a law. They have banned social media for kids below 16. US is again passing the same law. Norway has changed the age to 13 to 15. And in our country, a parent is making an 8 and a 6-year-old child dance on Instagram, becoming a so-called content creator or an influencer at the age of 6 and 7. Now, this is scary. So
So,
my concern is you have to be very thoughtful when you decide the screen time. For example, if you ask me for games, I would not allow a child to play a game more than 15 minutes on a screen. I would allow him to play 2 hours in the park outside, sweating and channelizing his positive energy. But I will not allow him to play a FIFA game also with his fingers for three hours on the screen, harming his eyes, getting connected to people you don't know. You ask any parent who is sitting and listening to me, when the child goes out, he know, he's gone to Rituji's flat, he's playing with Rituji's son. But when he's playing a game, a violent game called Free Fire, he's playing with 300 players. You don't even know who he's playing with. Who is his friend? What is he giving him? Whether he's giving him a substance abuse or whether he's talking to him wrong things. You don't even know as a parent whom your child is playing and how much time? Addictive time. 4 to 5 hours. And then when you take away the phone, they react as if you have taken out an oxygen mask from an ICU patient. This is their behavior. This is a red flag. So when it comes to these games, first thing, age control. Second, not more than 10-15 minutes of gaming. Let them play outside. Social media, not allowed for kids, not allowed. If they really want to make a career in life, they want to be smart and bright, I would ask them to stay away from it. And especially those two applications, which is really spoiling my children. One is Snapchat and second is Instagram. Though they have teen accounts and every security, but this is nothing. Go to schools, ma'am. Today also, this children were telling me there are some bullying pages and they are so bad. They're writing stuff. They are making fake pictures with AI and all. And we all know this was recently in the news. Noida, Gurugram, 14, 13 and 12-year kids have been apprehended by cyber cell for sending out fake emails with fake email threats to schools and to so many people and all. And even in spite of using those so-called tricks of VPN and all, they were tracked with their digital footprints and they were apprehended. This is so bad for every person, for parents, and even for the kids to go through this. Why is this happening? Because they are addicted to game. They don't want to give positive time to their education and their school. So what are they trying to create? These distractions. So that means screen time has to be defined as per the usage. Like even for television, I was shocked when a parent told me that a very young child is watching a series on Netflix and it is called Squid Game or something. I was shocked.
yes.
So there is all kind of content on OTT platforms, and this is where parenting comes in. We see schools, we are not having this in our curriculum. You go to a school, you have all 12 subjects. We are doing our best. We are calling experts. We are guiding them. We are giving all their opportunities to be in curriculum, sports, MUNs, international exposure. But the child goes home and he has his own tablet. And there, all kind of content is there. So I think, as ma'am said, net nanny, there are softwares. There are softwares called parental control softwares. There are, if the parents are very busy and both the parents are working, so they can have these wonderful parental control softwares pre-installed on their child devices so that they know how much of screen time they are having, what is their engagement, what kind of applications are they consuming. And that can be with a one button that can be controlled by a parent. So like softwares like Google Family Link, even Net Nanny is a very good product. Its name is Net Nanny. But the point is, I don't want policing. I want children to be wise, cyber wise. And we can make them cyber wise when they see the threats, when they see the results, the problems, And then they realized ki yes, today only so many kids came to me and said, sir, we are uninstalling this game because it is 17 plus. We were not knowing. Now that is where ignorance is. You are downloading a game, but you don't know it is 17 plus, and you are playing at the age of 9 years age.
Yeah.
This is a bit scary. Every time I hear you, it is an eye opener. And it is like a big red flag for all of us. And, coming from what you mentioned about uh, the laws, which are pretty strict across the globe. So, what is it? I will be coming back to Aditi ma'am with the question which came uh, as a follow up from what you just shared about children being exposed to it. But before I take it to ma'am, I want to understand, so while the other countries are so strict in their laws, what is it that can happen and can be done here for children to be on social media platforms and for parents to be taking videos and making them the influencers and obviously banking on that? And so, isn't there any law that is going to be coming very strictly for a country like ours, which has vast kind of set of people from different culture, and each one trying to come forward with what they own as the best to put to others? So we don't have any such laws which are going to be as strict. And then I'll also, after taking to ma'am, I'll come to the question which has been posed there on the window.
So
So,
there are laws. We already have laws in place which are strict, and they don't have a specific age group or something written there that it is only for children or it is for adults. We have a generic IT Act which has zero tolerance for abuse, hacking, impersonation, using bad words, inappropriate pictures. The law is in place. Yes, we have new laws coming in. We have already added a lot of new sections related to cyber threats, cyber bullying into the new structures of law which we have made called the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS, BNSS, and BSA. So there are things happening. We also have a DPDP Act, which is Data Privacy and Data Protection Act 2023, which is in place now for data protection. And it also has a special segment protecting the data rights and data of minors, that is children. So the laws are in place, but yes, very soon we are going to have a new set of digital laws instead of the IT Act, which till date we are following. And apart from the policy frameworks on social media and all, there's a lot of work going on in hand with social media. And social media is also, all these big tools of social media are having specific child protection tools which they are developing and sharing with us. But yes, there is a question in the parliament for the age verification of kids and content which they are seeing.
right.
And especially for all OTT platforms also, an intermediary guidelines have been laid out, which is already there in the 2022 February law, where it is
Okay.
a special law for intermediary guidelines for it covers all OTT platforms as well as the gaming platforms.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. So, ma'am, while Sir says that, and all of us are well aware that this is damaging, and 6-year-old looking at something which is actually meant for 17, social media influence, creating these different reels and videos, etc. So, how do we kind of cater as parents? I would say, if I were a parent of today, I would be really baffled to understand how I control those meltdowns if I take the screen away from my child while during the 2 years time everyone has a reason to say that it happened during pandemic. What could we do? We had our own work to do, and now I can't take it away. So how do we take care of those meltdowns which happen in the house, and every household would have some or the other story to share? Yes, ma'am.
Again, I'm addressing this to parents specifically. Um, there is no preparation. I always say this, there's no preparation for the two most important roles we have in our life of being a spouse and being a parent. So we end up role modeling our parents. Did we, all those adults in on the screen on the as part of this webinar, do they recall having a meltdown or having a tantrum? It was not allowed. There was a conversation. If you wanted something, you have a conversation. You didn't have a meltdown. You didn't have tantrums. We went to the market, but we knew I've liked this doll, I've liked this little, toy tea set, but Is it my birthday? No, it's not. Have I done something great? No, I haven't. Can I ask for this? No. Can I have a meltdown? What's a meltdown in my day and age? What has changed? And why has it changed? I don't think we can blame everything on the pandemic. The current generation, I'm seeing now 4 5 year olds who have meltdowns. I've seen it in malls, and one mother was ready to cry herself. So I just walked up to her. I said, "Don't worry, just move away." She's saying, "But she's crying." I said, "Let her be. She'll get up and come. It's only for you. If you move away, she'll get up." And sure enough, she said, "How?" I said, "Don't. I'm standing here. Nobody will abduct her. You just move away." The moment the mother moved out to say the child was okay, she brushed herself down and she got up and she started walking. So meltdowns are only in spaces where the children have been allowed too much. It's been too permissive. You cannot do that. Your role as a parent is to create a human being who is creative, productive, and is going to make the world a better place, much like you have done. All adults that I meet with are good, intelligent, smart people. Why have they suddenly let go of reins and said, "Ki nahi, now my child should have a, sort of, there should never be a no in their lives"? Why? They never hear a no till the age of 19, when the first time they hear a no, they go bonkers. Don't do that. Introduce a no, introduce conversation. I am the biggest advocate for conversations. For the toughest things, for the worst things, for the happiest things, every parent should have a conversation. We have a TV, we have a tablet. Now you tell me, after you come from school, what is it that you should be doing? I'm sure most will say we should first have our lunch. Then what should we do? Then we should finish our homework if it's, summertime, and then go to play. If it's winter, I want to go and play before it gets dark and come back home and do my homework. I know I have tremendous faith in children's essential goodness, but allow that goodness to speak. If you don't speak, for the child, it is this becomes then the parent, the friend, the mother, father, grandmother, everybody. Don't allow that. And there should be no, I mean, like Rakshit also said, don't, it's not a complete no. 10 minutes of game, by all means, but let's see what the game is. Is it like a Counter Strike, which is only going to kill people? Then no. Children must understand there is something called life, there's something called death. Each time there's a death on screen, it's just a splash of red and you get a point. What is this? We are desensitizing, we are making monsters of our little children. We can't do that. Those essentials of goodness, of productivity, of creativity are getting destroyed. I mean, I don't know how to overemphasize this, but parents can have a conversation. Yes, we will watch 15 or 20 minutes of TV, but it will be after dinner or before dinner, as they choose. I can't run everybody's household for them, but have that time, and nothing should be beyond that. Finished. That's the time we're going to watch, and then we're going to get off the screen. I doubt if there'll be a tantrum if this conversation happens. On a weekend, okay, you can watch for 1 hour also.
Right.
I have little nephews and nieces, so one day I was babysitting for them. My sisters had to go out, my cousins had to go out. So when they came in and I said, I wasn't sure what they want to do. So I had some stuff ready. I had jigsaw puzzles, I have some painting stuff. I said, "Would you like to watch TV?" So the little one, he was only 5. He says, "We've already watched 1 hour for this weekend." A 5-year-old telling me. So he has got his essentials in place. He would have loved to watch. He could have just hidden it from me. मैं तो TV दिखा देती, and matter would have been sorted. I mean, I was happy 2 hours were over. But I was very impressed that this has been instilled in them through a conversation कि 1 घंटा देखना है, नहीं तो आँख खराब हो जाएगी. So they were happy to do the painting, to do some jigsaw, to have a good time, have a conversation, and that was it.
So, ma'am, I totally agree in this. I was just trying to think that someone who would have kind of got their children glued and have done that for 4 5 years and now realize that there is a big damage that I have done and do want to reverse like a realization, and I've given the screen now, really want to take it away. There'll be meltdowns, there will be this, that, tantrums, whatever. So, what do you advise to those parents who still are struggling to take it away because now they realize that they've done that blunder and there is a problem that they're facing? So, this is just like a follow up question before I
Okay.
go to Rakshit sir again.
So,
Yes.
so if the screen was given during the pandemic and the child is now 7, 8, 9 years old, sit them down, talk to them, and say, "I had to give it to you that time. There was no way I could have survived without how would you have studied? After that, I let you have it for 1 or 2 more years because I thought you were used to it. But now, I think it's time for course correct. Explain why it's a course correct. I I'm convinced children will understand if there's a conversation around it. And again, the parent can say, okay, you were using it for 4 hours after coming from school. Can we reduce it for 2 hours to 2 hours for the next week or so? And then make it 1 hour. And in the remaining time, do something exciting. Get them into a class, let them go out and play, let them make friends. Today's children, they're losing the socialization.
Mm.
In the West, there's this whole issue of isolation. Why are they getting isolated? We are living in society. We're
True.
not living in a forest all by ourselves and hunting and gathering our food. We are
Correct.
living in homes. It's use that society. It's for made by us for us.
Correct.
Conversations and more conversations by parents and admit I made a mistake. I made a mistake by not giving it to you. I'm really sorry. I didn't realize it's destroying you. And as a mother, I can't see you getting destroyed. So please forgive me and let us make an essential agreement that how much will we reduce the time to, so that we taper it off. It can't be 4 hours now and 0 hours tomorrow.
Mhm.
It's not going to work. Then there's bound to be a meltdown and
Correct.
maybe some withdrawal also. So let's do
Mm.
it gently. 4 hours ka 2 hours karo, 2 hours ka 1 hour, and then we just use it as and when required.
Just like Sir said that it's an addiction, so it has to have a de-addiction phase to go slowly with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what I've understood that at the end of it, everything kind of comes to a conversation.
Conversation.
Hmm.
Very
So,
important. So, coming
so
back to
this is also conversation killer, by the way, no?
yes, yes,
Hmm.
I
We
totally
really
agree,
stuck
ma'am.
on this.
I know, and I'm loving it though. This is a webinar. We are on the screen. We are doing it wisely. So, for all the ones who are here, they should know that this is for a very intelligent purpose, and it's not that we are propagating no screen time and we are on the screen. So, just on
Yeah.
a humorous note here. Before I take it to the next question, sir, I'm going to read what is there on the question answer window. So, there's a parent who's also mentioned that while how about using social media as a source of verified knowledge? And isn't it as good as the answer we get from Google or any search engine? And I also wanted to make sure that the information is verified. Very nice question. So, I mean, if I have to search for an answer, I go on a Google search on the safest channels. So, how do I verify if it is actually the safe one or it's a paid one for it to be popping up right at the top of a search engine?
So looking at the level of scams we are seeing, and especially with AI, deep fakes, and fake news, it's becoming very difficult. We recently went through this Operation Sindoor, and we saw there was so much of fake news disseminated and real like looking videos which people
Mhm.
believed, and they started
Correct.
sharing and forwarding. It was a kind of a psychological warfare, and which was affecting the psychology of the people at that time when they were looking at that news. So
True.
that makes it very difficult. And that is why today, when it comes to verifying the news, I always say that please look for the official verified handles before start sharing, forwarding, or believing any news. And when it comes to content like produced by Googles and Wikipedias, they are also human generated. They are generated by users. And in users also, there is something called SEO, search engine optimization. So recently, a senior citizen was looking for a customer care number of a e-commerce website where she had a complaint to raise. And with the help of SEO, these scammers able to put the number on the top Google list. So what happens, like I search for a number, for I want to contact Rakshit Tandon. Now I have not advertised, I have not put any spent money to promote my website, but some scammer did, and a first number came which people dialed. And he said, yes, I'm calling from Mr. Tandon office. I'm sending you a link. You just pay some advance, blah, blah, blah. And then a scam happened. So in that case, it is always advised that whatever product you are consuming and whatever questions you have, look for verified sources. For example, like on social media, we have our government affiliated verified handles for every ministry. So suppose I have any security concern in Gurugram, and some people are saying there is a curfew, there is a holiday. I'm not believing any WhatsApp university created content. I go to my social media, open the official blue verified or a gray verified handle of Gurugram Police or Haryana Police, and I look for a message and post there. So these are the ways now which we have started using to verify information. But yes, in this whole ocean of content, digital content coming in, today the biggest care for me is uh, deep fakes and fake news and fake pictures and fake videos, which are generated very easily and they look very same. And these days, the hackers have also started using trusted contact attack. So, what is a trusted contact? That you will receive a message from Aditi ma'am asking you to click on something, and though she has not sent you that. So, in that case, we also promote the concept of zero trust, that just don't look at the number because we hardly remember numbers. So, you remember the DP, the picture, and the logo. So one has to improve their DQ. I use the word DQ now. It's not IQ. I call it digital quotient. So if I have to get my child admitted to Dharav High School, I should very clearly know the website of Dharav High School. I will not just go and search. I know it is what is the spelling, how it ends with .com or it is a .in. So I should have a very smart DQ to understand which button and which website or which link is right or wrong.
Thank you, sir. I think it's always very informative. And from IQ to EQ to DQ, I don't know how many questions are going to be added to our list over this period. And maybe the next decade is going to be a different one. I do have a parent who's posted a comment here. Uh, so, ma'am, I think it's probably one of the teachers who's gone through this with a parent, and she says a parent of grade one opened her daughter's FB account, who was 6 years old, by filling the wrong age. She told her to delete the account as she was casual about it and said, "To kya hua, ma'am?" How to make her understand. I'm sure this is a teacher crying out to say that this is not "to kya hua." And she came to know when the friend request was sent. So it is, I think, the teacher reaching out to you, asking you that a friend request was sent from a child. And when the teacher reached out and told the parent about it, obviously the parents' reaction is "to kya hua." So how do you control these "to kya hua"? This is a teacher's cry, so I can really feel your pain, Miss Ritu.
So, I think today, when you talk to any educator or any principal or if teacher or anyone, and people who are not in the school space, and say, how are children behaving? They just want to know, because you've not been to school for like 15, 20, 25, 30 years. You say children are fine, it's the parents who are the problem now. Because in the idea of keeping up with Joneses or trying to look cool, this is happening. So what Rakshit sir mentioned, and he told me this, I was shocked out of my wits, and very little shocks me now, that parents are using, just to be cool, their children as actors in reels. And in the reel, the child is actually mocking the mother.
Mm.
Now look at the sociological thing over here. The child is mocking the mother. Will you respect her? And certainly not. Mother is laughing, so she's accepting it. Now, that reel consumed by so many other children of that age will think, what's wrong with my mom? Why is she not as cool as this? That I can abuse her, I'm making fun of her body or make fun of her clothes or her hair. And, why is she getting angry at that? What's the problem? So, somewhere we need to educate parents as much as we educate children, because my children are with me only for 6, 7 hours. For 18 hours, they're in a home which may not be aligned with what I say. And when people get, they go all agog about, why should there be an interaction with parents for admission? I said, why not? I want to know what the parent is thinking about. I want to know what they think about society. I want to know what they think about child labor. I want to know what their views of women are. So, otherwise, my views and their views will clash. And who's confused? The poor child. So, parents such as these, and they abound. There's not just one of them, there are many of them. Ritu has encountered one. I have encountered several. I will share with you an anecdote where this child was given the mother's phone and he sent a very inappropriate, bordering on pornography reel by mistake to his teacher, who was also part of a broadcast group. The teacher went into, shock almost, because this was very inappropriate and coming from a parent. When I asked the parent, she was very ashamed, of course. My cousin said, I said, whoever sent, I'm not saying you're an adult, you can consume whatever pornography you want. Why was the phone with the child? And then I asked a slightly more provocative question, and I'm asking this to all the parents. Would they give their child a glass of alcohol just for a sip?
No.
No. One cigarette, just for a puff. No. Then why the phone? The alcohol affects the liver, the cigarette affects the lung, the phone affects the brain. It is an end organ. What are you doing? How can you do this? So, I don't know how to make it more alarming. Parents should not be handing the phone over, not handing it over. Watching something together, by all means, for 5-10 minutes, no problem. But handing it over to do what you want, I mean, it's the scariest thing. It's like giving the child a time bomb. It can burst on his face.
And
But what if the, sorry, sir, you wanted to say
And
something?
also want to add here, we have seen a lot
Yeah.
of cases of hard-earned money being swiped away and stolen from parents just because their kids were using their devices. Because
Yes.
nowadays our wealth is in our phones. We don't have it in our banks anymore. You have a UPI, you have a wallet, you have a credit card application, everything is running in a phone. A kid told me that he wanted to download a game which was 150 rupee game. Her mother denied the payment, so he downloaded an APK file. Now, APK is a raw file, it's called Android Package Kit. It was a nothing but a time bomb, it was a malware. Now, this malware got installed into the mother's phone, and two things were stolen from her phone: all her SMS, and all her banking credentials. She lost
Wow.
27 lakh rupees from her device. And this case, I have many such cases, many, not single, many such cases. So now, and you are an adult, your child is a minor. So your algorithms and your search histories are all adult based. And now the same device you are sharing it with a child, this is not done. So never give a device which is loaded with UPIs and wallets and banks to a minor kid. Never. You should have a separate child device, and that should be given under supervision. That is the only best way.
So, but sir, though your point is very valid, and I'm sure now I speak like a parent who will come crying to Aditi ma'am and say that everyone has a phone, ma'am. How do I tell my child not to have one? And if you want to keep it as simple as not a smartphone, but just a dial in, dial out phone, that doesn't help. He starts to feel really, beaten up in terms of complexes, feels that he's not as good as others, whether it's a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, and worse comes to like a 12 or a 13-year-old. I mean, after 16, I think is a different ball game. But how do you kind of cater to that situation where my son or my daughter would say everyone has a phone?
Thank you, Ritu. That's my favorite question. And I talk about it often because I have a lot of interaction with the parents of my school in various ways. So, whenever anybody says everyone has it, it's the most annoying statement, firstly. So, you don't compare. You always have to tell your child, I'm not comparing you with anybody. Why are you comparing me with other parents? What I give you, maybe the other parents don't give you. The time, the games, the board games, the second thing is verify with the school once. So this happened to me many years ago when these wonderful phones had just come in our lives, and there was this grandparent who was the caregiver for the child. And I mean, obviously, he was shocked that everybody in class 7 has a phone. I said, I don't think they do. He said, ma'am, my grandson is after my life. I said, let's go to the class. So I walked into 7H and I said, how many of you have a phone? Not a single hand went up. And this poor kid whose grandchild was ready to, dissolve into whatever. I said, I'm not asking because I want to get angry. I'm just doing a survey. I just want to know how many of you have a phone. I'm not going to say anything. That's my promise. I never lie. Two hands went up. I said, you have your own phone? No, ma'am, I use my parents' phone. How often do you use it? Ma'am, every day. For how long? About an hour or two. That's it. Then I called this child outside, this grandchild. I said, why did you say this? You said it, no? He says, I really wanted a phone. And I was just thinking later, I told the grandfather, I said, I'm so grateful to you for coming to verify it. Because supposing he had given in, कि
Hmm.
grandchild hai, bina parents ke yahan reh raha hai mere paas, let me give him the phone. This guy would have now been the kingpin. And he would have been an example for all the others, and all 35 of them would have wanted a phone, ki so and so has it. So always, always verify from school, from each other. I'll give you another example. It's nothing to do with the phone, but something similar. Everybody does it, everybody has it kind of a story. These 4, 5 girls of who are daughters of very good friends were seen in a mall alone by another parent of my school. And she says, I just found it suspicious that why are these 11-year-olds by themselves and they are huddling together? You can see the fear in their body language. They're huddling, but they're there. And she says, I could see three men, grown men, following them. She said, I didn't want to, I wasn't sure whether I should get involved or not get involved. She said, then I finally decided I will get involved. She walked up and she said, what are you doing here, girls? Auntie, we've just come for shopping. With whom have you come? By ourselves. Alone? No, my mama dropped me. So she called one of the mamas. I called the mamas. Then it was a working Saturday. These kids were off. I called them. They were firstly ready to cry because they were all thinking of what could have happened, the imagination. Again, it was triggered by this, that so and so's mother doesn't say anything, she lets her go, you keep me in check. And it became like a circle, and all five mothers got taken in. And though they are friends, they didn't verify with each other. The one was busy, one was dealing with something else. She said, we could have just rung up. Ki, have you said yes? And the mother would have said, no, I haven't, but she's saying that you have said yes. So ye yes, yes ki jo kahani hai na, it's like a Chinese whisper.
Mhm.
There is no yes from anywhere, but वो कहीं से एक yes निकलता है, and people believe it, and then it becomes like a pandemic.
Mhm.
Right. So
Prevent
pandemic,
pandemics, don't believe.
I I know, ma'am. So it's like a Chinese whisper which we all need to control. So Dr. Rakshit, before I move, I think there's some very pertinent question there on the window which says, I'm going to read the two of them, the two questions here. One about uh, a person joining from USA. My son gets limited screen time for 45 minutes and video games in the weekends, that is Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. There is a horrendous game called Roblox, and it's a hype here.
Hmm.
The sad thing is that
In
the
India
schools are
also.
allowing and giving it in recess when they are not going out to play for XYZ reasons. My son is 7 and said once, I will be cheeky and play it in school. Please tell me, how can I ensure that my child is not hiding things from me? So that's one question. The second one, I'll take it after this.
So, ma'am, Roblox is T. T means the rating is teenagers. So, first of all, if he's 7, then it is not allowed. Second, the same problem we are facing in India. People think it is made up of small cartoon characters, so it is very safe to play. But we have some very, very dangerous stories coming out of Roblox. And everywhere, I've been to so many schools, interacted with so many kids. And I don't say from myself, I always put up a question to the children. So you play Roblox? He said, yes, we play Roblox. And they were very excited. Then I asked them, have you seen, and Roblox is a game which is user generated games. So there are a lot of child predators who create games and room spaces which are very scary. They are called condo rooms, scented rooms, pawn rooms. And the child himself told me that we entered into a game where everybody was naked and we could only see bare chests. This was the statement of a child. The second said there were a lot of guns and we were supposed to kill people, and we had to kill a pregnant lady with a gun. And all these kind of things were told to me. So this is what the scariest part of Roblox games are. Roblox, and also that it is a teenager based game. So first of all, this is what we have to educate children, that you can't give a 7-year-old child a car to drive. Similarly, then how can you give a 13 plus or a 17 plus game to play? Now, similar question to Rituji, what she said about that girl faking her age. The scary part is that when you fake your age and go online, you meet people of that same age. So now your 6-year-old is chatting with an 18 or a 27-year-old person. And that is where the biggest threat comes in. So please, we have to be very careful. And the best way to educate children is that, are you allowed to drive a car? Can you sit in grade 12? Can you wear your dad and mom clothes? The answer will be no. So you're a
Mm.
child, you have to be a child. So we are not saying no to games, but we are giving you games which has a rating E. Now, E
Mm.
means everyone, T means teenager, M means mature. So we
Mm.
have to follow these rules. Otherwise, there is a problem.
Mm. Thank you, sir. I'll also take just a thought which has been shared by Mr. Dugal here. Um, I, I think I've just missed it. Yes. So, what is the best way to educate kids? You may have answered a part of it about social media are echo chambers where conversions are intermediated through algorithmic injectors.
Hmm.
Whatever you consume and engage with, the algo serves you more of the same
Same
content,
content.
be it misinformation or real information. So, take intel from social with pinch of salt, or how to explain this to the kids. We did have a part of this as answered in your
So the
previous one.
best way I think to explain children is that whatever social media shows you is not always true, number one.
Mm. Hmm.
So, and always look out for more sources. Don't, the more you click, the more you get trapped into these algorithms. And every viral news is not a real news. You must have heard recently, I'm not naming the actor, one actor was booked for buying fake views, on a social media post for by paying some 75 or 74 lakh rupees. So this is how we can educate children. And algorithm thing is very scary because see, they have started now using microphones, cookies, and even your cameras to see and feel and understand what you are searching for. Suppose you are normally having a conversation at your home, and then suddenly you go to any e-commerce website, you will start seeing those advertisements. So parents should also control the permissions and security settings of the children applications. So whatever applications, geolocation for kids should be turned off, microphone should be turned off. So these are some precautions to be taken on their devices so that they don't fall trap to these algorithm injectors. And yes, that's a good idea to have these echo chambers and all, but the best way to teach children is that every news coming online cannot be correct. Even these GPTs and generative AI tools which the children have started using, this is also not good. We should tell them that, because see, every answer is not going to be correct there. It is
Hmm.
just based, and even AI has started doing hallucinations now. We are seeing some wrong results coming from AI. This is called AI hallucinations. And I myself was a victim of this when somebody wrote on AI chat, a very popular generative AI app, who is Rakshit Tandon. They said he was a cybersecurity expert. Sadly, he passed away in July 2020 due to some heart attack. Now
Oh
that came,
God.
and when we confronted this with the generative AI, they said it all happened because there was a technical glitch in the database, in their learning model. So this is where what Kunalji has mentioned is very important. And so take an intel from social with a pinch of salt is the best way to do it with kids.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to take your points about the AI, and I have a question to Aditi ma'am. And before I go to the next one, because artificial intelligence is taking over as also one of our best friends. And I know one of the incident where, not an incident, I would say it was a conversation I was having with middle school children, which you also pointed out, sir, fourth to eighth and ninth. And we happened to discuss about, have a debate on, AI versus human intelligence, and what are your thoughts? So being a single child, very bright girl, she says that she was obviously for artificial intelligence. She turned back and said, I find my best friend in AI. So when I go back, I talk to AI, and at least I have someone to speak with because I know my parents are working. And it did shock me because she's otherwise a very bright kid, excelling in everything. So sometimes, from the face of it, you don't see that there is a problem, because the child is participating in everything, well spoken, good in academics, best friends, socially sound, but has a best friend even at home as AI. So to you, Aditi ma'am, what is it? While I know that you totally believe in, human touch, you believe in conversations, and I know that very well because of the number of years I've been associated with you, and it's always a fun conversation with you, be it over phone or otherwise. How do we counter this or combat this as a problem, considering that working parents, nuclear family setup, the child is obviously left alone, but the parents are totally dedicated when it comes to academic areas and also giving that exposure to the child. But AI still happens to be a part of her or his life.
Um, I think for this, parents have to be a little cautious that either they put the child in some kind of engaging activity which does not leave the child feeling alone. Loneliness is horrible, So I don't blame this kid for finding a friend elsewhere. Um, Activities, after school classes, something to engage the child. Maybe one of the parents can be working from home for half the day. I think I know companies have also become very understanding. They allow work from home for working mothers, that they can go home at 3 and be with the child. I think once again, for me, the power of conversation is like the most powerful thing. Explaining to the child, because remember, the AI friend is always agreeing with you.
Mm.
It picks up how you think and keeps agreeing with you and keeps giving you the same ideas again and again. That's not a real friend. That's not a real human. A real friend will argue with you, maybe fight with you, maybe disagree with you, debate with you. You will have so much more inputs coming in. So someone has to be there. That artificial intelligence is artificial, is picking on you, on your brain, on your thought process, using those algorithms and giving you the kind of answer which you want to hear. That's not
True.
life.
Yes,
That's
yes.
certainly
So,
not life. It's not going to serve you exactly what you want.
so aptly
So
said.
somewhere removing the artificiality of it. So I'll give
Mm.
you another example. We have a lot of children who do the Duke of Edinburgh program, and they go for a lot of these adventure activities. For any program outside, for any event, I don't allow phones because I think all kinds of mischief happens on phone.
Correct.
But in this one, we do allow because these are grown-up children, and sometimes they need to take a video of that Burma Bridge or that rappelling or that rock climbing and all that. The trainers tell me, ma'am, we put them at work at 8 in the morning. We stopped only at 6 in the evening. They didn't even ask for their phone. When they got off the whatever they were doing at 6 o'clock, they were so exhausted. They just wanted to have their hot Horlicks and sit and chat.
So
Now,
nice.
that is the kind of situation which we want, that the child should be so engaged in something creative. Phone, social media is not creative. Something creative which keeps them busy in a nice way so they don't have time to get into this. So, parents have to be very careful, very cautious of what they are, trying to fit in. One of our schools, Ritu, is a hostel as well. The
Right.
children don't have phones over there. They get a phone only on Friday for half an hour. I asked them, I said, do you miss it? They don't. साफ बोल दिया. In fact, one day one of the girls said, I feel a little homesick, so can I get the phone more often? So just for a week, I said, give it to them every day. The mothers wrote back, he said, रोज क्यों दे रहे हो? Because फिर रोज phone आता है, then, they get more homesick जितनी बात करते हैं. Otherwise, Friday, half an hour is good enough. Now, if a hostel can do that and keep them engaged, why can't a home?
So I think it's all about it's boiling down to setting boundaries. And when you set boundaries, whether it's for a 5-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 18-year-old, it's important that those boundaries are respected. So it's
Yeah.
just about comes also further to the parenting. I mean, I think it's such an important time for us to be better parents. So I'm going to take this to Rakshit sir and ask. So while you want to be a good parent and you want to always be respected and loved, how is it that you set those boundaries without acting like a bad cop or being a spy to your children? So, sir, for you, if this may be the
Education,
last, Hanji.
education and conversation, as rightly said by ma'am, is the only answer. I see a lot of kids missing out to conversation these days in
Yes.
families and with families. You should have a tech curfew in your home, and the tech
Hmm.
curfew should be before sleeping, 1 hour before sleeping, dinner table, study time. These should be the tech curfew zones, and this has to be strictly followed. So all these things, once you bring in into their behavior from the beginning, and even if you start it from today, it is not going to harm. You will not
Hmm.
become a bad parent with this.
Correct.
It has been proven, not medically also, it has been proven by doctors that if you are eating food and watching the screen at the same time, you are not having a good digestion. And in that case, we have seen so many cases. Kids in the night, they are scrolling. Now, that is allowed by the parents. Why
Hmm.
to have a Wi-Fi on when you are sleeping? You're not
Right.
checking your WhatsApps in the night when you are sleeping. So you
Hmm.
can have no Wi-Fi zone in the night when it's the time to sleep. It's just removing the power adapter from the router, that's it, and keeping it safe. Plug it on as soon as you wake up in the morning. None of your technology will fail in the night when you are sleeping. But something like this has to be there. And I think you don't have parental control app. I never advise also. I advise only digital well-being. And now every mobile is coming with an inbuilt digital well-being. So even you have an Android or an Apple phone, you yourself can check your own digital well-being by seeing how much time are you spending. And if you convert it into years, you will be shocked to see that you are wasting so many ages on your screen, and you could have done better. You could have made more friends. You could have gone out, read. People are forgetting. My kids are forgetting how to read and write now. Now this is scary. So I think that is the best way out rather than saying no or just taking away their phones. And this can't be possible. But yes, Having tech curfews, having no tech zones at dinner table, study time, these are the things which are going to help the parents to create good digital hygiene and digital habits for the children.
Thank you, sir. I think this is going to be an endless conversation, and we will have endless questions coming to you. And I may have one after the other based on our experiences that we've had as a parent, as an educator, being in. I mean, I myself seen 2 decades, and I'm sure Aditi ma'am has gone like more beyond 4 or 5. So there is so much of us that we still want to reach out and ask questions there. But I only want to thank you, and I want to thank you for being here all the time, for being available to help us out, to reach out to a masses, of parents and community, to tell them of how important it is to be safe and to be not falling into this trap of cyber crime, or also being in this cyber web. So thank you for your time, sir, and I hope that each one of us sitting here has been able to get some information, even if it's like a 10% of what change that you can bring. I'm sure slowly we will be treading that path and going up to a complete 100% of the correction that we've been able to reach. And Aditi ma'am, I would say that with you, every moment of your anecdotes, your information, your natural flow of your experiences, it does make you feel so connected with the things that should go right and aren't going right around us. So thank you for being here, and thank you to each one of you who's a part of this webinar, and thank you to the IT team and Dharav High School. And I do want to extend this gratitude to my entire team, Harmeet ma'am and Pratibha ma'am. All of us are here sending you a big gratitude, sir. Thank you so much. And thank
Thank
you, ma'am,
you.
and have a
Thank
lovely
you.
evening, each
Thank
one
you.
of you. Thank
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 you.
you. Thank you.